to NDPR. All right, what is up, guys? Welcome to Nancy's Dead Public Radio. Uh so I was going to kind of take some notes and uh get this going tomorrow, but fuck it. Kind of in the mood now, and it's I think I got the sound right. Hopefully by the time I'm done talking, I'll realize that the audio is correct. So anyway, here we are, and thank you for listening. This is gonna be fucking weird, but it's kind of fun, and I appreciate you guys listening. So uh, I guess we'll just kind of start where is always the best place to start is the beginning, and I've been playing music since I was uh, too little to even know what the hell I was doing. I just knew that I liked all sorts of Disney songs, when I was really, really little, and music always stuck with me. Being named after Miles Davis himself, my middle name's Davis, first name Miles, and I was kind of destined to be involved with music in some way, shape, or form. And so I think it'd be a pity if I did not. That'd be pretty messed up. And if I was someone that didn't really care for music and was named after such a famous musician, it'd probably get on my fucking nerves. So I'm very grateful that I ended up uh, finding solace in music. So anyway, I'm not going to tell my whole biography here, but excuse me. Yeah, I picked up a guitar when I was about 11 years old, and was terrified. Didn't think I was going to be able to do it. It's just one of those things where it's like, what if I'm just not good at this? What if I just fucking suck? I'm not meant to play guitar. What if I have no rhythm? What if I look stupid? And I ended up taking to it very quickly. I had the best teacher in the world. His name was Skip Woodstock, which what a fitting fucking name, right? Woodstock, and he was super rad. He didn't teach us how to read music. He did teach us how to read tablatures, and instead of his approach was cool because instead of him telling us to forcing us, you're going to learn Mozart and you're going to learn this, you're going to learn that, nothing against Mozart, but when you're 11 you kind of want to play some Smash Mouth. So uh he had everyone in the class pick out their own song, and he'd find the tabs for us, print them out, and brought them to class. And so everyone got really involved right away. All these kids were more enthusiastic about learning how to play because you're learning how to play, whatever song you liked at the time. It was the '90s, so it was all Smash Mouth, Blink 182. I wanted to learn Fly or what was it? Definitely Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. That was a huge one, and he kind of looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, "You want that's the first song you want to learn? Are you okay?" So I had pretty high hopes, and I ended up learning it pretty quickly. Not to toot my own horn, but yeah, it just kind of worked, and so I got that under my belt, and I'll forever be grateful to Skip Woodstock. So if you're out there, man, thank you. It's the best way to teach someone. I've taught a few classes, and I always approached it that same way. Like, kids they lose interest easily, and as long as you let them know, like, yeah, I'm going to tell you what to do, but it'll be under your circumstances. Like, it keeps you involved, keeps you feeling interested in it. Because let's face it, when it comes to reading, for example, people don't like reading for the most part because you were forced to read the books that the teachers chose for you, and that turned a lot of people off of reading. It turns into a chore. A lot of people that are really good at piano, they hate fucking playing piano because it was just forced upon them. They weren't taught songs that they really enjoyed. But anyway, so yeah, I was playing guitar and writing really crappy songs, a la Limp Bizkit and Corn style stuff, and from a broken home, so I was very angsty at a very early age, and so I ran into an artist by the name of Dashboard Confessional, Chris Caraba, and he just showed me that, hey, you can do this by yourself. You don't have to have a band, because it always bummed me out that I didn't have anyone to play with. And I'm like, who wants to? I'm not fucking Jewel. Who wants to hear me play by myself? But Chris showed me with Dashboard that you can fill a room with just your voice, your words, and a guitar. So I did that emo thing for quite a long time, and played a lot of shows and met a lot of really cool people. Jen Scafidi, shout out, love you, girl. Um, she ended up recording my first EP, and I never looked back really after that. She was very gracious, and I did 5 tracks with her up in Reno, Nevada, and that CD got around. That was a slutty little CD. I still have people that will just send me a photo of it, and it's in their CD booklet in their old car or something, and it's got my handwriting on it, and it's fucking weird. But yeah, that thing made its rounds. We recorded it in one day, and it was pretty solid. I think I was writing lyrics kind of ahead of my time. I think I was 14, maybe 15, and yeah, some of the words still hold up, other ones not so much, but as is growing up as a lyricist, you kind of look back and go, "Oh God!" But you got to think about your age at the time. It's okay. Got to start somewhere. So after after starting to play live and stuff, shout out to my buddy Michael. He uh, he told me one day, you can't just keep playing for your friends, man. You got to hit an open mic night. And I was like, I don't. I just write for me. Maybe I'll be a songwriter. I'm not a performer. And so, and it wasn't out of like trying to not sound cocky or anything. It was just I really didn't feel comfortable with the idea. I had crazy amounts of acne all over my face. I was scrawny. I had dyed my hair black, and with these eyebrows, that did not work out. And so he forced me. I eventually. This is how I met Jen Scafidi in the first place. Was she was hosting an open mic night at the local coffee shop, Comma Coffee. Shout out Comma. Wouldn't be where I am today without having a place to play. So thank you to June and family. Uh, and yeah, so he forced me on stage, and once again, never looked back. People started coming in just to see me and shit, and it was crazy. It kind of blew my mind. Uh, and I joined a screamo band. I wasn't going to high school at the time. I was homeschooled, so these guys were um, recording me and this other group of guys, and they kind of stole me away. If I'm being totally honest, we were recording what was a pretty mediocre screamo song. We were young, but it was pretty bad, and they were looking to change their sound, and they needed a singer slash guitarist. So they kind of pulled me aside when I'm here. I am in their home studio recording with this other band, and they kind of pulled me aside and were like, "Hey, you wanna like, I don't know, join our band, like ditch this band." And hopefully, not many of those people are gonna watch this. So because it got pretty ugly, that high school drama shit, especially when you get a bunch of emo kids in girls' pants. Balls are being squeezed pretty tight, and uh, your attitude is pretty bitchy. It was very very high school. So we all thought we were hot shit. But anyway, so played with them for a long time, not as long as I would have liked, but those were some of the best years of my life, and really got to experience not being the center of attention, being a part of a band, and that was sick. And then everyone had to kind of move away after high school, and uh, so I kind of went back to playing by myself. But I had, well, if I'm being totally honest, I'd started smoking a good amount of weed, and um, listening to different kinds of music than I was listening to when I was doing my emo stuff. So the emo stuff wasn't really hitting quite as home as it did before. I wanted to be more creative, and I was stoned out of my mind. So I was just like, dude, man, I want to like do stuff that's like weird. Started listening to lots of Portugal the Man, Mars Volta, this Canadian band called Run Chico Run that are just absolutely bizarre. Very good, but really weird duo group that not many people know about. Yeah, not many people know about them, but really cool, really experimental. And so I was smoking a bowl with my friend Michael, who I previously mentioned, who forced me on stage, and we were just super stoned, and we kind of came up with this idea together of what if we just started a project that has literally no genre whatsoever, and doesn't matter what chords we play, doesn't even matter what the fuck we sing about, does not matter, whatever, anything. And our stoned asses were like, yeah, that's a great idea, man. Let's try it. So we just started writing really random lyrics that mean nothing. I started playing chords that I never would have thought to play before, making shit up. And Nancy Plays Nurse was born. And the funny story behind the name Nancy Plays Nurse, everyone always asks because it somewhat resembles what might be like a porno title, Nancy Plays Nurse. And it's much less weird than that. It's as weird, just not weird in that way. I was getting a ride from a friend of mine, and uh, she had this book in her back seat, and it was this ancient, or not ancient, but an old children's book from like the 40s. And I'm sitting there smoking a bowl, and I found it, and I was like, oh, "What the hell is this doing in your car?" And she's like, "Oh, I was babysitting someone. It must be her book." And I was like, "Okay." And the title was Nancy Plays Nurse, and for whatever reason, in my stoned mind, I was like, "It's got a really nice ring to it." Uh, it's 3 words. They're kind of stacked on top of each other, so it's visually appealing. There's the same amount of letters for each word, and I don't know, NPN for short. I just liked it, and it kind of sat in my back pocket for quite a while. I thought maybe a song title, an album title, and yeah, once I started doing this weird, different kind of songwriting, I realized now's the time. Now's the time to use Nancy Plays Nurse. That's the project's name. So that was that, and made a pure volume page for you youngsters. That was basically uh, Spotify. You didn't have to pay for, and all the good bands were on it. Pure volume was the shit, and obviously MySpace. We had our shit on there too, but and MySpace used to be cool. I know I sound like a elder emo, as they say, but MySpace was awesome. It was super. It definitely was more for the artist than just the listener back then, and it was really helpful. A lot of bands you listen to today got their start with MySpace, and I owe them a lot as well. Met a lot of cool people, found a lot of good bands, and yeah, MySpace was sweet. I wouldn't be where I am without them either. So yeah, Michael ended up moving away, so our 2 piece went down to just me again, and I decided to stick around with it and just grab any instruments and non-instruments, just things that made noise that I could find. Continue smoking weed and hitting record on a really crappy laptop in my mom's garage, and it just started blossoming. It became this really cool oasis of musical expression and no limits whatsoever on what I could do, what I couldn't do. People didn't like it, fuck you. Like I really don't care. And a lot of people say that, but I genuinely meant it, even at that age. It would bum me out if someone didn't get it, but it didn't change my mind about my approach to the project at all. Like, if you don't like it, okay, I get it, but like screw you. I'm not going to pander to a certain audience or anything. You get what you get. So I stuck with that, and eventually uh, got a few lineups together, and one of the most beautiful times of my life. Played a lot of shows, and Jen Scafidi ended up the woman who recorded my first EP ended up coming in and playing bass. That was our third or second, third lineup. And yeah, there was one point where we had 6 people on stage. Wonderful violinist named Dustin, who we thought was an old woman who was just practicing violin across the street. And then one day we found out it was this wonderful gay dude that was about our age, and he also liked to smoke weed. So we ended up hanging out, and he was playing in the Reno Philharmonic, but somehow liked what we were doing, and so he joined. And it kind of blew my mind that here's this guy who like really knows what he's doing, and he wants to join. So I knew in the back of my mind like I had something. Nancy Plays Nurse was pretty cool, and people were catching on. There's something unique about it. So yeah, that lineup broke up, and then Jen joined, and it was me, David, and Jen for a long time, and then uh, just people moving, people getting pissed off at each other, all the band stories. I could write a fucking book, and which I might one day. We'll see. But yeah, so I put it on the back burner for a really long time after the final lineup broke up. I got a DUI and I had just gone through a divorce, which just really wrecked shop on my life, and my creative drive was just gone. So I didn't quite stop playing music, but I didn't really know what was next. And so I found myself just kind of revisiting old emo songs and sort of hitting up Nancy songs every once in a while, but it's just not the same when you have that full sound of a band. It was kind of disheartening to go back to playing these songs I was so used to hearing with just these eclectic sounds added on. It was just me and a guitar again, and it wasn't cutting it. So Nancy back pocket for quite a while, and then in 2018, I decided to start buying some random instruments and build up my repertoire of all different kinds of instruments. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna buckle down and fucking do this myself. And so I worked on it for about 8 months, all on an iPhone 6 using GarageBand, and it was a pain in my ass, but it was also completely wonderful to work on. 15 full tracks, three of which were never played live. They were too weird. So I wasn't even sure if they would make it on the album. But they did. You can hear it on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Nancy Plays Nurse. There's my first tag while I'm doing this shit. Um, More to come. Sorry about that, but that's how the internet works, right? So yeah, everything you hear on that album is me. I've got some guest vocals from my friend Daniel Allen, who is crazy talented, and he's got one of the most brutal screams you'll ever hear. Um, and his stuff's fantastic too. I'll have to put the link in the bio somewhere, but he's wonderful. And Jim Gustafson, he used to play guitar with us for a while. He's one of my favorite guitarists of all time, not that I've played with, of all time, any guitarist ever. I just adore Jim's style. So shout out Jim, you're the man. And yeah, so it's available, and it's not perfect, but in this day and age, everything's so freaking polished. I really enjoy uh, hearing the flaws that people will tend to get rid of nowadays. And I understand why they want the album to sound as perfect as possible. You know, if you want the flaws, you can go come see us live and stuff. I have nothing against people making albums sound pristine, but it is dying. It's dying out, and things are starting to really sound a little too similar, especially uh, when you get into certain genres. Everyone's mixing and mastering the same way because that's the way to do it. It's almost uh, like plastic surgery in Hollywood, where yeah, there's you guys are still attractive. You didn't really need to do that though, and you guys all kind of look the same. Like you're not ugly, but you know, like and your music doesn't suck. But if a song comes on a playlist on shuffle, and I'm not quite sure if the band has changed or not, you kind of got a problem, in my opinion. That's just me being honest. And so another thing that's easy is I'm not a perfect musician. I just am not perfect. I've only learned by ear. Never did any theory classes or anything like that. I try to feel it. I feel it, man. And but in all seriousness, I'm kind of grateful that that's the way it happened. I probably wouldn't have written such bizarre, wacky songs had I been told at an early age, no, that's not correct. You know, so I didn't have any boundaries. But yeah, so after that album was done, excuse me, this is paid for by, no, just kidding. It's not paid by anything. Um, so I eventually was like, okay, Nancy Plays Nurse is done, and I'm satisfied with that. It won't ever happen again, and that's okay. I've got these 15 tracks. I did my absolute best. I think they to this day sound wonderful. I'm very very proud of myself. It's almost like I was an out of body experience. It's crazy that I was able to accomplish that on a fucking phone. Um, I didn't even plug in any other microphones or anything. It was just everything that was built in, and I made it work. So, Nancy Plays Nurse, love you. Um, and if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be here talking about my newer project, which is Nancy's Dead. I didn't have a title for it, but I was talking to my sister. We were recording, and um, I was like, I want to do something just instrumental. I've always loved soundtracks and certain EDM and jazz, classical. I love instrumentation. I love Enya. I love Bjork when you get vocals most of the time, but nothing wrong with having a full blown instrumental track or album. So I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. I've always wanted to make a score of some kind. So I've got three tracks that I just kind of threw together, kind of wrote them as I went, which has proven to be the process altogether with this project. Is um, I'm letting the I'm letting the song write itself almost. I have a concept. I find a chord progression, and I just hit record and let it happen. And it's much easier when you don't have to worry about where the vocal's going to fit in. You can just groove. So I'm just a one man band like jamming by myself, and it's pretty cool. So when I'm getting off topic here, but when it came to titling it the project, because you have to have a title, I wasn't going to call it my name. That's boring. And I was like, well, it's not Nancy Plays Nurse. Nancy's dead. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. There's the name. So we got Nancy Plays Nurse and morphed into Nancy's Dead. They're totally different sounding, but there are plenty of aesthetics that you can tell it's made by the same person. And I try to get a little more electronic with this than I did with Nancy Plays Nurse, but I still want to keep as many acoustic elements, organic elements as I can. Why is organic? It's like that word is taboo now. It's like super douchey to say organic, but fuck you, Whole Foods. Just kidding. It's fine. Too expensive. But organic is the word. It's got a different sound than you hitting a button. And even if it is a recording that was previously done, that person was using a different stick to hit a different drum head, and it's the same every single time you hit it because you're just hitting a button. That recording's already happened. So you don't get that emotion. You don't get that depth. And that's where the fuck ups come in. And that's okay. I'm all right with having mistakes. If it's really bad, I'll go back and redo it. It's not like, well, that's done. If they don't like the mistakes, then screw them. But uh, I like little flaws here and there. The Early November is one of my favorite bands and always has been. And for the longest time, I don't think he does this anymore, but Ace Enders, the shout out to Ace. He's the man. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be here either. Uh, but Ace, for a while, he was just doing one takes for his vocals, like religiously. Whether he fucked it up or not, that was his choice, and that's cool. I respect that. I'm sure he looks back on it now and goes, "It was a little flat there. I could have done that one again." But I get where he was coming from, and yeah. So this new project is really really fun. That first EP, it's just three tracks that are all tied in. They're all in the same key, and they blend together very well. So I was thinking about like I've always been kind of into concept albums, and I want everything's tied in. So the movie Big Fish came to mind, and I thought of Spectre, where kind of that old timey town that Ewan McGregor's character finds, and they're all sitting barefoot playing banjo on the porch and shit. And I thought of Northern Winslow, who Steve Buscemi plays, and how he had his silly poem, "The grass so green, sky so blue, Spectre is really great," and just three lines. And I was like, well, that's perfect. We've got each line is the song title, so that was fun to do, and gave me more of a direction on where at least that EP was going. I wasn't sure if I would ever do another Nancy's Dead thing after that, but if I knew that if I did, it was going to be very different, not so folky, and that's okay. Once again, no limits, no limitations. So I was thinking more along the lines of what if that sound, that folky sound, met a little more of the Blade Runner soundtrack, and that's kind of where I ended up with the new project, which I busted out 10 tracks The full length is available on Bandcamp. I would love if you guys checked it out. Uh, I had no idea that it would flow out of me like this. Like it's just that's what she said. Sorry, office fan have to. It just happened. Like as soon as I started it, it just was. I was like, oh, this is fun. This is the time to try this out. And yeah, so I'm trying a lot of things I've never done before, and I recently got clean. I was a really heavily a alcoholic for a very long time, about 16 years. At least one drink a day for 16 years, and my body just couldn't take it anymore. So after near death, I was forced to clean up my act, and my clarity is back. My will to survive and create has returned, and I'm trying to take advantage of it as much as I can before the dreaded writer's block settles in, because it always does. You just don't know when or how or why, but writer's block is always right around the corner. And so for the time being, I'm going to try to pump these out as quickly as possible, and while making sure they're still good, not forcing anything. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with what's happening so far, and I'll get more into it. I don't need to fit all this in the first episode, but I don't even know how long these things are supposed to be. But I'll be learning more and more as I keep going. And like I said, thank you for giving it a shot. You're just listening to me bullshit. Eventually, I'm going to try to get uh, some guests on, and friends to shoot the shit with, and not be so serious and straightforward, but also have some humor, and I don't know, discuss the latest TV shows, books I'm reading. Just finished a book called Scale by Keith Buckley, the ex lead singer of Every Time I Die. RIP to that wonderful, wonderful band. We had 20 plus years of fantastic hardcore, but like I was saying about, band drama, even with, I guess, especially with family involved, Every Time I Die, I had to die. So he wrote a book, and it is phenomenal. If you guys get a chance, it's called Scale, Keith Buckley. Really good stuff, especially if you like Chuck Palahniuk. I think I'm saying that last name right. I never know. It seems like uh, Worcestershire sauce or something. Everybody says it a fucking different way. So yeah, if you're a reader, check it out. I always say that everybody that says they don't like reading just hasn't found the right book. So I'll be talking about books. Love my movies, as you can see from my nerdy ass room. And you can't see it in the shot right now, but behind me I do have a Nimbus 2000 hanging from the ceiling. So yeah, I'll be talking about nerdy shit, and definitely music and whatever else just comes to mind. And I kind of mentioned it in the introduction videos. I'm open to any suggestions. If you guys want me to answer some questions, I love reviewing stuff. Everyone's always told me I'd be good at reviewing shit, but as much as I like doing that, I also hate when I read a review that someone's taking a giant shit on something I love. So I don't want to be one of the bad guys. But yeah, if you have any questions for what's a good abstract band to start listening to, if you want uh, what's good jazz to like ease your way into jazz, because some of it's pretty out there and hard to listen to, I understand. But yeah, anything like that. And hopefully you just stick around, and I'll just keep making notes here for what I should be talking about. Let's see if I have anything written down yet that I need to figure out. Not really. Nope. I do have a handle now on YouTube, so it's Miles and Nancy Yahoo, or not Yahoo. That's my email. I'm gonna delete all of this, so I'm gonna stop now. So anyway, thank you, thank you very much, and let's just keep going and discuss things, talk with each other, communicate. I think it's great, and I like. I'm not a huge podcast person, which is ironic, but the ones that I do watch, I definitely enjoy. I love the behind the scenes stuff on DVDs and things like that. So I like to see how shit works and hear how it was made, hear what kind of mood a person was in when they wrote a certain song or decided to, you know, shoot from a certain angle when they're directing and things like that. I love all the ins and outs. So um, once I get back to recording and stuff, I'll just kind of do a day to day. And another thing I wanted to let you guys know is each song that you hear at the beginning of each video, that's a clip. Right now, I'm starting with Nancy Plays Nurse, which used to be on Spotify, but it was too expensive. Nobody buys my shit. So I was losing money by keeping it up on Spotify. Spotify is wonderful for the listener and it's fucking terrible for the artist. And I'm sure you've read stuff about that online. It is not the artist's friend at all. But it's cool that everyone can you can find almost anything on Spotify, and that's cool. But my stuff you cannot. It is on SoundCloud. But yeah, so here we go. Episode 1 in the books. Not sure what I'll title it. I want to title each episode. I think this one's gonna be uh Nancy's a Flusy. We'll go with that. Anyway, until next time, thank you for my awkwardness, and we shall meet again. Later on the Menjay.